What if I told you that some of the very vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now, the ones you've been told for decades are healthy, could actually be poisoning your body, especially after the age of 60? Think about it. You've spent your whole life believing that filling your plate with vegetables is the safest, smartest choice. Doctors say it, magazines print it, even your parents probably drilled it into you when you were young. Eat your vegetables, they'll keep you strong. But here's the shocking truth. After 60, your body changes. What used to nourish you might now be silently hurting you, day after day, bite after bite. Have you noticed your blood pressure creeping up, even though you've cut back on salt? Or maybe you've felt your joints ache a little more after a meal, and you brushed it off as just aging? Perhaps your digestion feels different. You get bloated more often, or you feel weaker than you used to, even though your diet hasn't changed. These aren't always random signs of getting older. Sometimes they're your body quietly warning you, this food isn't working for me anymore. And here's the scary part. Most people have no idea. They keep eating the same healthy vegetables thinking they're doing the right thing, while in reality, those foods could be raising their blood pressure, thinning their blood too much, straining their kidneys, or making arthritis flare-ups worse. By the time they find out, it's often because a serious health issue has already shown up. But here's the good news. You don't have to be one of them. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 common vegetables seniors over 60 should never eat, no matter how healthy they seem. And more importantly, I'll show you 5 nutrient-rich vegetables you must add to your meals to protect your health, strengthen your body, and even restore some of that energy you thought was gone for good. And trust me, the last one on that list might completely change how you feel every single day. So let me ask you, are you ready to take back control of your health? If you're serious about living longer and stronger, I want you to comment down below right now. Just type, "I'm here." That way, I know you're part of this journey. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Care Daily, because every single day we share powerful senior health tips that can make the difference between just aging and aging well. Now let's dive in. Let's start with the first vegetable on our list, nightshades. That includes tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. Now picture this. You've made it a habit for years to enjoy a warm bowl of tomato soup every evening. It feels comforting, familiar, like a part of who you are. But then slowly, you begin noticing your joints feel stiffer in the mornings. Maybe your knees ache more when you stand, or your hands feel swollen after meals. You chalk it up to aging, maybe arthritis creeping in. But what if I told you it might not be just age, it could be what's in your bowl? Nightshades contain a chemical called solanine, an alkaloid that can actually irritate the joints and worsen inflammation. For a younger body, this might not have been much of an issue. But after 60, when your joints are already more fragile and your body's repair system slower, that extra inflammation can make the difference between walking comfortably and wincing with every step. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think, but tomatoes are heart healthy, peppers are full of vitamin C, and eggplants are low in calories, they must be good for me. And yes, those nutrients are real, but the hidden downside is rarely discussed. For seniors, especially those with arthritis or autoimmune conditions, nightshades can be the silent culprits making life more painful than it has to be. So what should you do? I'm not saying you need to banish them forever. Instead, pay attention to how your body responds. If you love tomatoes, try cooking them thoroughly. Heat breaks down some of the alkaloids and makes them easier to tolerate. And maybe don't eat them every single day. Think of it as a treat, not a staple. Because here's the truth. One person's health food can be another person's trigger. And for seniors, that line is thinner than ever. But inflammation isn't the only danger you should be aware of. There's another vegetable that looks completely innocent, crunchy and fresh, yet it can silently spike your blood pressure when you least expect it. Now let's move to the second vegetable on our list, celery. It looks harmless, right? Crisp, watery, light as air. You probably know someone who swapped chips for celery sticks thinking they were making the safest, healthiest choice. Maybe you've done it yourself. But here's the hidden truth. Celery carries a natural load of sodium, and for seniors, especially those with blood pressure concerns, that can be a real problem. Imagine this. A friend of yours is proud that they're snacking better. No more salty crackers, no more chips, just fresh celery dipped in hummus. At first it seems perfect, low-calorie, crunchy, guilt-free. But then weeks later their blood pressure is higher than before. They're shocked because they thought they were doing everything right. What they didn't realize is that celery, bite after bite, was quietly feeding their system with sodium. And for someone over 60 whose blood vessels aren't as elastic and forgiving as they once were, that sodium can push blood pressure up without warning. Now here's the big misconception. Most people think of celery as a diet food. It's almost a symbol of clean eating, like the poster child for a healthy snack. And yes, celery does have fiber and hydration benefits, but what's rarely talked about is how its sodium content, while natural, is still sodium. And when you're already salt sensitive or taking medications for hypertension, that innocent snack can actually make things worse. So what should you do instead? You don't have to eliminate celery completely, but moderation matters. If you're craving something crunchy, consider swapping it for cucumbers. They offer the same satisfying bite, the same refreshing water content, but with far less sodium. That small switch can make a huge difference for your heart and your health. Because here's the truth. It's not always about the foods you avoid in big obvious ways. Sometimes it's the little everyday choices that sneak up on you. And speaking of sneaky, there's another vegetable, one that looks vibrant, earthy, and even heart-healthy, that can quietly overload your kidneys and lead to painful consequences you never saw coming. Now let's talk about the third vegetable on this list, beets. On the surface, beets seem like one of the healthiest choices you could ever make. They're colorful, earthy, packed with nutrients, and often celebrated as a superfood. You've probably heard that they're great for your heart, that they boost blood flow, and that beet smoothies can give you more energy. And for a while, that's true. But here's the side you're not being told. Picture this: a senior, eager to improve their health, begins blending beet smoothies every single morning. It feels like a life upgrade, rich color in the glass, a sense of pride with every sip. But after a few months, they find themselves doubled over in pain, being rushed to the hospital with kidney stones. What happened? How could something so healthy turn into something so harmful? The answer is oxalates. Beets are loaded with them. Oxalates are compounds that, when combined with calcium inside your body, can form crystals. Those crystals are what become kidney stones. And here's the thing. Your kidneys, especially after 60, aren't as strong as they once were. They filter more slowly, they're more easily stressed. So when oxalates pile up, instead of being flushed out, they build and harden into stones. Painful, dangerous, and completely unexpected. The big misconception is this. People think that because beets are known to support heart health, more must always be better. They assume that if one serving is good, then drinking beet juice every day must be amazing. But in reality, that daily dose can tip the balance in the wrong direction, especially if you already have weaker kidneys. So, what's the smarter move? You don't need to cut out beets entirely. They still have powerful nutrients worth keeping, but limit them to 2 or 3 times a week instead of every day. And here's a trick. Pair beets with calcium-rich foods, like a little cheese or yogurt. Calcium can help bind oxalates in your digestive system before they ever reach your kidneys, lowering your risk. Small adjustment, big difference. Because sometimes the key to health isn't about doing more. It's about knowing when enough is enough. And speaking of enough, there's another vegetable that often gets praised as a powerhouse of nutrition, especially for its dark leafy greens. But for seniors, eating too much of it can actually thin your blood dangerously, throwing your medications out of balance. Now let's move to the fourth vegetable on this list, spinach. For years, you've been told that leafy greens are the gold standard of healthy eating, and in many ways, that's true. Spinach is loaded with iron, fiber, and powerful antioxidants. It's the kind of vegetable that makes you feel virtuous just by putting it on your plate. But here's where things get complicated, because for seniors, especially those on certain medications, spinach can turn from friend to foe without warning. Imagine this. A senior who has been prescribed blood thinners to prevent clots, starts adding spinach smoothies to their daily routine. It feels like a healthy upgrade. They're proud of it. But slowly, the medication stops working the way it should. The doctor runs tests and realizes the blood isn't thinning properly anymore. The medication hasn't changed. The diet has. And the culprit? Spinach. Here's why. Spinach is incredibly rich in vitamin K, a nutrient that helps your blood clot. For most people, that's a good thing. But if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, vitamin K works against the medication, reducing its effectiveness. That means the balance of your blood, how easily it clots or flows, gets thrown completely off. For some, that can raise the risk of dangerous blood clots or strokes even when they're taking their pills exactly as prescribed. And here's the misconception. So many people believe the more greens, the better. They pile their plates with spinach thinking they're protecting their health. But the truth is, more isn't always better. When it comes to seniors and medication, more can sometimes be dangerous. So what's the right approach? Don't panic. You don't need to cut out spinach entirely. Instead, keep your intake consistent. If you normally eat a small portion 2 or 3 times a week, stick to that. Don't suddenly triple your intake without telling your doctor. And if you love spinach, make sure your healthcare provider knows so they can adjust your medication if needed. The key is balance, not extremes. Because at this stage of life, your diet and your medicine are working together like 2 gears in a machine. One sudden change in diet can throw the whole system off. And spinach isn't the only harmless vegetable with a hidden sting. There's another one so common in soups and stews that can leave you bloated, uncomfortable, and dealing with serious digestive issues you didn't see coming. Now let's talk about the 5th vegetable on this list: cabbage. On the surface, it seems harmless. It's cheap, it's versatile, and it's often praised as a detox food. You might boil it, shred it into salads, or toss it into soups, believing you're giving your body a light, cleansing boost. But for many seniors, cabbage can quietly become the source of daily discomfort. Picture this. A 65-year-old makes a habit of eating boiled cabbage every single day, convinced it's helping to flush out toxins and keep their weight down. But instead of feeling lighter and healthier, they start to notice something else: persistent bloating, uncomfortable stomach cramps, and a nagging sense that their digestion just isn't working the way it used to. They feel heavy, sluggish, and even embarrassed by the constant gas. Here's why. Cabbage is packed with a natural sugar called raffinose. For younger bodies with strong digestion, raffinose is usually broken down without much issue. But as we age, digestion slows, gut bacteria shift, and those sugars aren't as easily processed. The result? Gas, bloating, and in some cases, flare-ups of conditions like IBS. What seemed like a simple bowl of healthy boiled cabbage can, over time, leave you feeling worse instead of better. And here's the common misconception. Cabbage is often marketed as a detox vegetable, a miracle food to cleanse your system. But the truth is, your liver and kidneys already do the detoxing. For seniors, eating cabbage in large amounts can stress digestion more than it helps. So what's the better path? Moderation is key. You don't have to give it up completely. Just don't make it a daily centerpiece of your meals. And here's a smarter option. Try fermented cabbage, like sauerkraut. When cabbage is fermented, those hard-to-digest sugars are broken down in the process, making it gentler on your stomach. Plus, the natural probiotics in sauerkraut can actually improve your gut health instead of stressing it. Because at this stage of life, it's not just about eating vegetables. It's about choosing the right ones, in the right forms, for your body's changing needs. Now that we've uncovered the 5 vegetables that may be quietly working against you, let's flip the script. It's not all bad news. In fact, there are 5 powerhouse vegetables you must eat after 60. The ones that can protect your heart, strengthen your bones, and even bring back energy you thought you'd lost forever. Now that we've seen the vegetables that may be working against your health, let's shift the focus. Because it's not all about what you should avoid. There are vegetables that can truly become your allies after 60. These are the ones that protect your body, strengthen your systems, and give you the kind of energy and resilience you need to enjoy life fully. Let's walk through 5 vegetables you must eat if you want to thrive in your later years. 1. Broccoli, the cancer-fighting powerhouse. Picture yourself at the dinner table, a plate of steamed broccoli in front of you. For years, you may have thought of broccoli as boring or bland, something you ate only because you were told it was good for you. But inside those green florets is a compound called sulforaphane, and it's one of the most powerful natural defenders your body can have. Sulforaphane helps your body detox harmful substances, calms inflammation, and has even been linked in studies to lowering the risk of certain cancers. That's not just healthy talk. That's your body being actively shielded at the cellular level. The mistake many people make? They overcook broccoli until it's limp and gray, losing many of its nutrients. The better way? Lightly steam it or roast it so it keeps its crunch and its strength. By adding broccoli a few times a week, you're giving your body a natural shield. And speaking of protection, let's talk about a vegetable that doesn't just guard your cells. It keeps your eyes sharp and your immune system strong. 2. Carrots. Eye immune support. Imagine watching your grandchildren play or reading your favorite book without struggling to see clearly. That's what carrots support. Rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A, carrots protect your vision and keep your eyes healthier for longer. For seniors, this can be the difference between clear sight and the creeping fog of vision loss. But carrots don't stop there. They also boost your immune system, helping you fight off infections that become more dangerous as we age. And unlike some vegetables, carrots are easy to prepare. Raw, roasted, blended into soups, they fit into almost any meal. The misconception? Some people think carrots are too high in sugar to eat regularly. But in reality, the natural sugars in carrots are balanced with fiber, making them safe and beneficial in moderate portions. And just like carrots brighten your plate with orange, there's another vegetable that brings deep orange as well. But this one supports not just your eyes, but also your gut and your energy. 3. Sweet potatoes, gentle energy. Gut health picture replacing your heavy, starchy white potatoes with the smooth sweetness of a baked sweet potato. For seniors, this swap is powerful. Sweet potatoes are rich in fiber, which supports digestion and keeps your gut moving regularly, a challenge many face as they grow older. But here's where they shine. Sweet potatoes provide slow, steady energy. Unlike white bread or pasta that spike your blood sugar and then crash it, sweet potatoes have a low glycemic index, meaning your energy levels stay stable. That's a game changer for seniors who often complain of fatigue. Some people assume sweet potatoes are too starchy to be healthy, but that's a misconception. The truth is, their nutrients, fiber, potassium, and vitamins far outweigh the concerns. A few servings each week can give you comfort food that actually works with your body instead of against it. And if sweet potatoes nourish your gut, the next vegetable we'll talk about builds something even more important: your bones and your heart. 4. Kale, bone heart strength. Think of kale as the heavyweight champion of leafy greens. For seniors, this vegetable is like a natural supplement you can eat. It's loaded with calcium and magnesium, 2 minerals that directly strengthen your bones. And after 60, when bone density becomes a serious concern, that strength matters. But kale doesn't stop with bones. It's also packed with antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress and protect your heart. Eating kale regularly can lower cholesterol levels and support blood pressure management. The misconception is that kale is too bitter or hard to eat. But the truth is, it's all about how you prepare it. Massage it with olive oil for salads, sauté it with garlic, or blend it into smoothies. By finding a way that works for you, kale can easily move from health trend to a cornerstone of your senior diet. And speaking of garlic, let's finish this list with one of the most ancient and powerful vegetables known for supporting longevity. 5. Garlic, the longevity booster. For thousands of years, garlic has been more than just a way to flavor food. It's been medicine. And for seniors, it continues to be one of the most powerful vegetables you can eat. Garlic is a natural anti-inflammatory and antibacterial agent. It helps lower blood pressure, balances cholesterol, and even supports your immune system to keep you fighting off illness. Imagine seasoning your meals with garlic, not just for taste, but knowing that every clove is working quietly behind the scenes, keeping your arteries clear, your blood pressure steady, and your body strong. Some people worry that garlic's strong flavor is a downside, but that's the beauty of it. You don't need a lot. Just a small amount, added regularly, brings big benefits. So from broccoli that protects your cells, to garlic that supports your heart and longevity, these 5 vegetables are not just food. They're tools for a healthier, longer life. Now that you've seen both sides, the ones to avoid and the ones to embrace, let's bring it all together and talk about the emotional side of these choices and why they matter so much for you and your loved ones. It can feel overwhelming, can it? To hear that the very foods you trusted, the vegetables you've eaten for decades, may no longer serve you the way they once did. It almost feels unfair, like the rules changed without anyone telling you. You spent years believing you were doing the right thing, only to discover that at this stage of life your body plays by a new set of rules. And that realization can stir up fear, frustration, even a little sadness. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to. This isn't the end of your freedom with food. In fact, it's the beginning of something even more powerful. Because knowledge is power. Once you understand how your body has changed, you can adapt. By making small, intentional swaps, you can protect your health, safeguard your independence, and keep enjoying the things you love most. Think about it this way. The vegetables we talked about aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to give you awareness. Because when you know better, you can do better. Instead of blindly eating what everyone says is healthy, you can choose what's healthy for you. That difference could be the reason you wake up tomorrow with more energy, fewer aches, and greater